Welcome to the Sound Mind podcast, where I invite interesting guests from the music field and discuss with them topics such as musical and personal growth, pursuing excellence and self-talk, body and mind maintenance, practice and work routines, music business, and more. I'm your host, Michael Krustel, and welcome to the Sound Mind podcast. Hello, dear listeners and viewers. Another episode of the Sound Mind podcast is here. On today's episode, my guest is Samo Šalamon. He is, first of all, an incredible person with whom I shared wonderful conversations in the past, and he always gave me a feeling that if you put your mind to something, you can achieve anything you want. He's a wonderful guitar player and a composer. He's playing with incredible musicians from all over the world. He was also a huge inspiration for this podcast, the Soundmind podcast. He has his own Dr. Jazz Talks, it's called, and now he will release his 403rd episode. That's insane. He's also a busy bee when it comes to released albums. He recorded 40 albums. Not only that, he also has his afternoon music school, and he is also a full-time daddy. I had so many questions for him regarding exactly this. How do you manage your time so that you can still have a quality time with your family and still do cool things? He also shared his story that I've heard already about John Scofield. When he was a teenager in the 90s, he made a fan page for him. Everybody that doesn't know who John Scofield is, he is a wonderful guitar player from the States. And he made his fan page, and then his wife reached out to him if he could make a professional web page for him, and the rest is history. He flew to the States, spent some time with him, but I will not share everything. More will be shared in the podcast. And of course, he will share some of his insights, some of his struggles, and yeah, I'm sure that you will enjoy, and I hope that you will have fun. Hello, dear Samo, and welcome to the Sound Mind podcast.
Glad to be here, man.
Yeah, thanks for responding, and that you found time in your very busy life. Yeah, right off the bat, I have to say that why I really wanted to invite you and to have a chat with you is because I know you now for a couple of years, and every time we had such meaningful conversations, and I found really a lot of power from the conversations that we had. And what I noticed is that you're just such a do person. Like you, whenever I was talking to you, I really got the feeling that you can really set your mind to something and just go for it, and it will happen. And so thank you for these lessons and the friendship. So really,
Glad that you got something.
yeah. So how does it feel being the not the interviewer on the podcast, but the one that is, because you are also having your own podcast, Dr. Jazz Talks, which is now counting, if correct me if I'm wrong, 402nd episode.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
my God. Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotten out of hand a little bit. So no, no, but there's so many jazz musicians out there. You know, my list to who to talk to is still like it just goes on, I think. And it's nice to listen. I mean, today I'm on the other side, but it's just nice to listen to. There are so many incredible composers and band leaders and musicians out there, and each one of them has their own story, you know, and many of them are really underrated and unknown, and they should be, like, you know, widely known, but we know how it is. So yeah, I love doing this. I mean, this is how you learn about the music as well, especially jazz and improvised music. It's all about the stories and the oral heritage and things that the audience usually doesn't know unless someone tells you, a story how he played with, I don't know, Eric Dolphy or Charles Mingus, and then I'm like a small kid in a sandbox, like, oh, man, and I love listening to these things beside being a musician myself. So it's, yeah. But now I'm on the other side, so yeah, it's no, you're the leader, so you're the band leader.
Yeah. And how do you choose your guests? Like based on what? How do you? Yeah.
uh, I mean, I usually go just through my record collection and I listen to an album. I'm like, oh shit, man, Tom Christensen, and probably no one in Slovenia knows who this guy is, but he's an amazing player and he's played with everyone, let's say, or I don't know, Lenny White, the drummer of Return to Forever. We were talking now, like I was listening to the other day to Return to Forever, and I was like, shit, man, this is probably. And then I somehow got the contact of him, and so it's just like who I really like, and obviously I did first most of the musicians I played with from New York, from Mark Elias, Tim Byrne, Tom Rainey, Drew Grass, all these incredible guys, and then I started to investigate guitar players and the guys they played with, and then it's just then just the list becomes wider and wider, and it's also for me important not to talk only to big names. I think everyone would love to talk to Brad Meldau or Pat Metheny, but to be honest, I mean, it would be nice, but like I think we've read so much stuff about these guys that we kind of know everything almost already. And so it's nice to talk to these other musicians who are equally good, but maybe, like I said, underrated or not so known. So.
Mhm. I because as I mentioned before, it's like 402nd, 403rd. It will be now releasing your Dr. Jazz Talks podcast. And how do you like? Do you have the guests prepared in advance? Like how much? Because that means that you release like two per week, right?
Per week, yeah, yeah.
My God, like I think I cannot go. I do one every 2 weeks, and it feels like, ooh, how can you, get all the, especially to reach out to the person kind of on time. That means that you have already set it up like a month in advance, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Usually we have. I mean, I have interviews now planned already for beginning of March. So because everyone is so busy, all of these guys are on tours and recordings, and sometimes we just say like, okay, shit, we cannot do it now. Let's do it maybe in the summer because they're too busy. So yeah, I mean, I try to plan things and in advance, and so that it's easier for all of us. So, but yeah, you're smarter. 2 weeks is better, maybe.
However, I did notice that if I have because in the beginning I used to have more time in between, and maybe I had three already prepared and then I was releasing them. But this consistency, in sense that it's not so much time since the last one that you did, it's also kind of nice,
Mhm.
and it has its charm. But yeah, I definitely have to, how should I say, be better at planning ahead. I think that's the that's the game changer, especially, wow, if you do you have a team, or do you do everything solo?
uh, I mean, we go through the usual. I love to talk to everyone about how they compose, if that's what you mean.
No, I thought if you have
And
if you have a team around you about the Dr. Jazz
I
talks, or
no,
just you solo.
no, what team? Yeah, yeah, no, no, it's me.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, no, no. I do the paint, the caricatures and the paintings. I mean, the sketches, and prepare kind of for the interview. And but it's fun, it's like having a gig or something.
Yeah.
It's and it's like you said, it's really nice. Most of the people, almost all people that I've talked to are really nice and friendly, and and
Mm.
it's so nice to listen to. Kind of like we're all in the same game, in the same pond, playing this music that we really love. Otherwise, we would not do this stuff. It's, as you know,
Yeah.
it's basically you start on -20 already. So, but it's such a joy. Usually, when I finish an interview, I'm full of energy. I'm like, oh man, that was so beautiful. So it brings me a lot of this. It's an other thing besides all the things I do in my life. So it's a nice thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose with all these creative souls that you have
Yeah,
conversations, you can, you uh, this energy starts to flow. I think in both
yeah.
directions, right? You add, they add to you. And how do you prepare for your guests? Like, do you have also, yeah, what do you do to prepare for their interview?
I mean, I listen to music every morning. When I cook or when I play with my daughter in the morning. We just listen to jazz. We don't listen to children's songs. So
Wow.
a big sorry to my daughter about that. No, so I usually listen to the music of people that I'm gonna interview next. So it's I don't know if I'm talking to Jim Beard this week. The famous piano player who played with really everyone. And so I'm listening to his records now a lot these days. And while preparing, I just kind of check. I know so many things about all these players already. I've been reading so much encyclopedias, but usually with everyone, I want to go like how it is being a composer, how they compose, being a band leader, how they started. I'm always interested in that moment. What was the moment that they said like, oh shit, I want to play jazz or improvised music? Was there a record or a concert or and especially entering the scene, I'm really interested in that, like who were the first connections, how did they connect with musicians, and then usually with players, I like to ask them, let's say Jim Beard, I will ask him about playing with Wayne Shorter, because most of these guys played with legends, or if someone played with Stan Getz or Charles Mingus or uh, the giants, then I would ask them how it was, how they met, what did they learn, how were those guys as band leaders, and so kind of that's how I prepare and where I go. So it's like a free impro in the end,
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
How old is your daughter now?
Oh, she's 30 months, 1 year and 1 month. So
Whoa. So on your daughter's parties, up until she will not be able, I mean, she isn't able to be her own DJ at the parties, there's probably gonna be Charlie Parker and Coltrane.
yeah,
So
let's see.
wow, so also her friends will accidentally be jazz educated.
Oh my God, yeah, I don't know.
They're gonna be scatting her happy birthday song.
Yeah, I mean I think children are so open to to anything, and it's just music in the end. She starts to dance, so it's I don't see the reason
Yeah,
why we would have to listen to some, I don't know.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know, it's
Yeah,
nice, it's okay, but it's music in the end. She's playing, she's not. It's
exactly.
just the background. So if we listen to Coltrane, I mean, that's a good spirit. So
Yeah.
it's. I hope. I think. I mean.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. And you said it, she is a kid, she can receive it. But I think that I was just thinking about it last time that I believe that actually everybody is able to receive anything, right? Like people will listen what you put on the radio. It just happens that there's plenty of crappy
Yeah,
music there. I mean,
I agree.
it's
Yeah.
just unfortunate that there is radio stations that roll only that. It would be nice to have some hardcore or a little bit off. I mean, there are some radio state, or at least radio shows. I remember there's also
Yeah.
in Slovenia this radio student or radio student
Mhm.
that do some of their own little way,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
kind of nice and cool. But yeah, I was just thinking about it. What do you have maybe any thoughts on it as well?
I mean, that's a problem in music in general. I think there's so much, people receive what they see in a sense. So if magazine says like this is the best guy and this is, then people will check him out because they see his name, right? And then he will get concerts and he will be heard. So, but I think people are open to anything. Sometimes when we play concerts with my own groups, they can get quite rough in a sense of improvised stuff. But then we play a really beautiful ballad or something like a G major, E minor thing for 5 minutes because I like that too, and they love that as well. And then you go into free improv, and they will love that as well because they're just, it depends how you present everything. And but yeah, if that's a general problem of the media nowadays. I teach a lot, and uh, I teach everything from jazz to improvisation to rock and to heavy metal to meshuggah, whatever. And I've been teaching this week some students Hotel California by the Eagles, and it's 6 minutes 28 seconds long, and the solo is like almost 3 minutes long. And it was a world hit. Even now, it's alive. And nowadays, hits are not even 2 minutes 50 seconds long. They don't even have a solo. Not So it's I think the entire universe changed the last, especially 10, 15 years, I guess, 20 years, and it's just going down the quality. I mean, the quality of what is being presented to the world. I'll put it like that to the wide audience. So
Yeah, because I have the same issue every time I send like a piece to a radio station. They're like, "Ooh, might be too long. What do we do?" And then I'm okay. Maybe we cut out the drum solo in the end.
oh my god, so that's what the commercial stations do. That's they just. I heard that the other day, like in the radio. Another Brick in the Wall, Pink Floyd, right? It's not so long. It's like 3 minutes 50 seconds,
Yeah,
and there's a guitar solo in the end, 1 minute.
and it's a fade out.
It was just cut. I was like in the cars by accident, like, oh, now the guitar solo comes, and just the announcer comes on. No, no, no. I was like, what the? You cannot do that. It's like cutting Mona Lisa's eyes away or something like that. Just
Yeah,
so that's crazy. It's
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, that's where we are.
That's how you get. That's the only way to get some airtime, I
Yeah,
guess.
terrible,
So,
terrible.
so you mentioned maybe for the people. So I introduced you as a podcaster with your 402nd show, but you also made like 22. You recorded like 22 uh, albums.
A bit more, but yeah,
Sorry,
we're like around 40 now. Also, so I'm not counting anymore actually. So,
man. Like,
but yeah,
plus, I mean, it came through. You have a kid. Plus, you teach from 1 to 7 every day. Like, tell me, man, how does your normal day look like? Like, what do you do to maintain this spirit and energy? Like, what?
lots of Coke in the morning, and I don't know. It's like no, but I think organization. That's just and the will. If you want to do things, like you said, I think you can. It just I love talking to. I like having meaningful conversations with people, but I don't. I hate going to a coffee with someone in town and sitting there for 1 hour, just like yeah, oh well. It's I don't know. It's a waste of time for me. Like it's too short the time here for such things, and I just love to spend my time in a quality way. So whatever that means. So, but that means a lot of organization. Yeah, if you wanna spend time with your wife and with your daughter and practice and compose and do an interview and teach and cook, yeah, then yeah, it's a little bit.
Right.
But yeah,
Do
it's.
you?
I mean, it's a daily routine. So kind of.
Yeah. Do you measure, I mean, do you designate like a specific amount of time with your wife and with your daughter, or is that kind of, do you leave something open, or do you
Oh,
have?
sure. Yeah, sure. No, I mean, sure. It's now I just want to spend a lot of time with a kid, because it's you never get the time back. That's one thing you cannot buy in a sense, or you cannot retrieve that back. It's time. So I just love to spend every moment as I can with her. So and the same goes with my wife, or playing with people. If someone wants to play, it's so hard to get people to play. Even it's nowadays. So yeah, I leave things open. Sure, it's not. But just like some kind of like framework
Yeah.
has to be made, like roughly. So
Yeah. Um, I have a question. Like, I know about the John Scofield story because you told it to me. I think
oh yeah.
that's like crazy, and maybe we'll come to that. But what made you pick up the guitar? Like, what? How did you become a guitarist?
I wanted to play drums. So, but we lived like in a tiny apartment. Like it was 35 square meters. I think it was really small. So, and then my mom said like, okay, now you're gonna do guitar. I was like, oh, okay, then I'll do guitar. And I had to go, through the classical education because there was nothing else. And I really didn't like classical too much because I don't know why. Now I do. I love listening to classical music, but I think we're too young then when you're like 8 to play a Bach partita or whatever. Now I play them, but and then yeah, I mean, then I started to listen. There was always music at home, and somehow I got for my birthday a book of the Beatles, like this complete songbook, and I just started to play those tunes, and that one thing led to another. Like I somehow stumbled upon Dire Straits, and then came the Metallica period, and Megadeth, and Sepultura, and all this shizzle. And then I think it was in the last year of classical playing. This was like second year of high school. I told to my guitar teacher that I really don't feel like doing this anymore. And then he gave me a CD of Pat Metheny group, The Road to You. And I remember we had cassettes then still, So then I pressed play on the CD and record on the cassette player to make a copy. And I went out. I didn't even listen to it, and went to play basketball, and then I came home and I listened to it, and I was like, shit, what is this? And then I became obsessed. I just bought every CD by Pat Metheny, and when the usual Pat, I saw who Pat Metheny was playing with, so that meant, I don't know, John Scofield, that meant Mike Stern, and then it's just like I became obsessed with jazz, and just started to learn this. I mean, I'm basically self-taught as far as jazz is concerned, so started to study scales and voicings and all this shizzle, and yeah, that was kind of the beginning.
Yeah, because you kind of you don't really have an official academic jazz degree, or
No, no, I studied languages. I mean, that's why it's called Dr. Jazz Talks, because I have a PhD in translation and American literature. So basically, it's a completely and no, I mean, I didn't study jazz. I had some lessons with one Italian guitarist, Andrea Alione, who was really good at the time. And the John Scofield story, yeah, that was a huge motivation. And
yeah,
I, mean, I accompanied one friend of mine to Klagenfurt to the conservatory, and he wasn't accepted, but they accepted me even though I didn't apply. So, and then I went there for 4 weeks, but I wanted to learn about Eric Dolphin or Nat Coleman, and how to play these things. And that guy, the teacher there, he was just like, no, you have to play this Etude in E minor. And I just, yeah, I was like, no, shit, I don't need that, because I was studying languages here, and then I just made my own regime schedule. I practiced every day for 6 hours, like 1 hour transcribing, 1 hour of listening, 1 hour technical exercises, 1 hour standards, 1 hour theory, and yeah, that was my way. I mean, that's why, it's a nice thing when you go to the conservatory or university, because you meet people, and I kind of went my own way. That's how it is. Even now, I feel in Slovenia, so uh, that's
Yeah,
how it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
great. And I love it that you were already then training the setting up the schedule and
Oh yeah,
right. I think
yeah.
it's really a skill that can help you a lot to yeah. Did you have maybe a model how to plan your day, or you just did it also from the top of your head, or you had some inspiration from somewhere?
I mean, what I've heard, from people, it's like I saw it's good to do technical exercises. So because technique is an important thing, so I wrote down all the technical exercises, borrowed them from various books, and then I transcribed a lot. So meaning, not that I learned necessarily every solo then, but I just transcribed them. I have like, I don't know, 500 solos handwritten by especially saxophone players, actually. Like, I had the Sonny Rollins, Hank Mobley face, and Chris Potter face, and like all these guys. And so that was one part. Then one part was actually just listening to music, because everyone said it's important to listen. So I would put on, I don't know, Love Supreme, and just listen to the drums, what the drums are playing, and then listen to the record again, and listening to the bass, and so yeah, and then learning standards. Everyone said you have to learn the standard, so okay, I tried to learn the standard like every two days, a new one, memorize it, and yeah. So that was kind of how easily spent 5 hours actually. So uh, yeah, but I didn't have like really that someone would say like, okay, you have to do that. It's just like what I've heard from people. They said like, you have to do that, you have to do that, and
Hmm.
so then I said, okay, shit, then I should do that, I guess.
And what was your motivation? Like what was yeah, what was behind all this curiosity and
Well, I don't know. Improvising, it's such a nice thing, And I always, when I went to see Pat Metheny when I was 17, I was like, man, I want to do that. It looked so amazing. It was just the group still with Paul Vertigo and Steve Rodby and Lyle Mace, and I was just amazed. I couldn't believe that. Just the whole thing, how it sounded, amazing, and the communication between these guys, and like John Scofield, he was the main reason then why I really said like, shit, I want to do that, because of motivation, because I saw what he does, So it was this initial romantic, naive idea of
yeah.
to become a jazz musician. Then the reality strikes later, So like what all that means. So from all the other aspects, as well. So yeah,
Yeah. Can you now we talked about the John Scofield story a
yeah,
couple of times. Can you please share that one with us?
yeah. I mean, like I was quite a geek for computers. I mean, I still am in a way, and so I made, basically, that was like 1995. I think I think it was 95. Yeah, I made his first website. So the John Scofield homepage, it was called, and as a fan, because the internet was really starting back then. There was nothing almost yet. So, but I saw someone made, I think, a Mike Stern website. So I was like, oh shit, John Scofield doesn't have one. I'll do that. I just posted it online. And then his wife, Susan, called me one day from the States, actually, because there was my number. And I was like, yeah, who's screwing up with me? What's that? They're like, no, no. And yeah, we really like what you're doing. Would you like to be the professional guy for John's website? Like, if you would be the guy. I was like, I'm a 17-year-old or 16-year-old kid from
Slovenia.
Slovenia. Like I don't know shit about. And she was like, and I said like, well, I don't think I want to take this responsibility yet. And then, but then we stayed in touch, and when Scofield was then on the road the following year, we went to see him in Italy, in Treviso, and I met him, and I mean, I still have pics there from that meeting up there,
Wow.
me with my Yugoslavian sweater there,
Is it
and
possible that you show that picture? Is
oh
it?
yeah, well, I don't know if you'll see, but
Yeah, let's try. Let's try.
yeah, you will not see it. You see it there, like
Oh, yeah. Okay, 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 okay.
kind of.
See it. Maybe I can zoom it in later in post production and see it like a nice
Yeah, wait.
pixelated.
So wait, I can do it like that maybe if it works. Let's see.
Oh, we're going for a walk.
Yeah, exactly. See, that was a cool one.
Oh boy, that
That
is
was
you.
yeah, that's a boy, right?
That's crazy. That's a nice sweater indeed.
Yeah,
Look at John.
yeah, and here, I don't know if you see them well, but yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. He let you play his guitar?
yeah. He was like,
What?
we met, and he was like, okay, you play guitar, we'll play me something. I was like, shit, I don't know.
What did you play?
I
What?
think I played Stella by Starlight,
Oh,
and he was like, yeah, you sound good, and I sounded like the worst probably ever. So, and then he invited me. He saw that I play guitar, and he invited me to his place, and so then I went. I think in 1998 for 2 months or 2.5 months, and he gave me a room in his house, and then we played kind of almost every day, and he gave me advice what to do and how to like basically I still have those the recordings of those sessions we did on some cassettes, so I would have to somehow digitalize them when we played duo,
wow.
and then I just realized, because he played like on his crappy, he had like 20 guitars there, but when we jammed, he played like on a $50 acoustic guitar, and he sounded the same as he does, and I was like, shit, it's all in the fingers. It doesn't matter if you have a, like, sometimes, the kids are like, yeah, I need this Strandberg for 3,000 euros. Well, yeah, maybe you should practice first, and then it's all here from here and from here, and it's,
Right.
of course, it's nice to have a good guitar. But I think it's secondary. So, and that motivated me when I returned home. Then, like, I just started, yeah, practicing 5-6 hours. I saw that there's no other way if you want to be good. So, yeah.
Yeah. How long do you still practice now? Like, how much do you still practice?
Yeah, I cannot make it every day anymore. I used to. I was quite obsessed. I used to take my guitar everywhere, even if we went for holidays, so that I would practice. But now, with a child and, teaching and doing projects, and I tend to practice less. But when I do, it's a different sort of practice. I compose or I record probably something usually when I do some projects, and it's a different kind of practice. But I try to, I play guitar every day when I teach also, which is important.
Yeah.
And then when I have a break in between, I noodle around with it. And so, but it's definitely every day. It's a contact with instrument, that's for sure.
Yeah. And when you compose, do you just start, or do you, I don't know, do some guitar warm-ups first and then, or record? Can you tell the process? How does it ignite, or you just go?
Mm. Yeah, that's what I always ask everyone, also in my podcast, because I need ideas always. But no, I mean, it's we're all. I think we're all project bound, as much as I see, with the exceptions of those real composers, like Carla Bley and Wayne Shorter, or people who really composed every day, just because they were really composers. But if I know, there's I have a tour now, let's say in May, so I know I would love to write 3 new tunes, and so then, yeah, then I will just somehow try I would love to write a ballad, so then I know already direction. Okay, I need to write a ballad, and then usually I put on some music to get me inspired. I would put on a Paul Motion trio record, and that would just like trigger something. I don't know. And in the end, it will not sound at all like Paul Motion, but it will something will be like, oh shit, or I need to write an up tempo, and I will put on I don't know, Ornette Coleman, and a melody will pop out, and then yeah, depends always on the project, who's in the band, and if it's going to be more open or improvised, or whether it's players who how much time is there going to be to rehearse. If there's going to be a lot of time to rehearse, I will write more complicated music, and if it's not so much time, then I know I have to do it shorter, or uh, so, and also knowing the players, that's so important. If like in May now, we have another small tour with Arild Andersen, the bass player, who we played last 2 years ago now with Bob Moses, and this time with Patrice Aral from Paris, an amazing drummer. And so, we're gonna do a recording. So I would love to write knowing those players in my mind. I know how Arild plays now, and trying to use the strengths of Arild in the composition. So that's how I usually compose, knowing who's playing the music. So
Mhm. Yeah, thanks. I sometimes I struggle with actually just starting because I'm like, I grab the
yeah,
guitar and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna warm up first, and then next thing you know, I've been working out with the guitar for 2 hours and a half, and not a single note has been
yeah,
read, you know. And I just had it today, so I was, I just started noodling, but not like, not like 30 minutes do scale in F melodic minor or
yeah,
what.
yeah. Sure.
But I just started playing, and then some stuff started to appear, and I was like, wow, this is also an interesting approach to just go with it,
Mhm.
especially if I notice if I have little time, like if I know I have 1 hour, I
Yeah,
probably will not do my practice routine then, but I will go straight to the point, and
yeah,
then usually the most creative things come out when the time is condensed, or
yes,
when it's short, or when it's limited. It's crazy, right? So, and sometimes I have the whole day, and then I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna warm up first. I'm gonna set up this mic really nicely, oh, actually I should do some vocal exercises as well, and then, I'm a bit hungry now, I'm gonna cook some food,
yeah, 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 yeah. That's terrible. Then it's,
yeah.
but that's how we are. I think. Yeah, you need something to keep you organized. Otherwise, it's nice to play the instrument, like you said. You can start noodling for 2 hours, and it's like, oh shit, I didn't. I mean, you did something, but in the end, it was nice time, right? But if you want to compose, then yeah, you should sit down and like, okay,
Because it feels
let's
sometimes that
compose.
I'm procrastinating. It feels sometimes like that. I had this
Oh,
feeling
sure.
like that I'm postponing that act of, just doing it. I think it's really that I'm kind of pushing off the responsibility to do that, by doing something what I'm kind of already know how it is, every
Mhm.
day play scales. I know, it's okay, the guitar stuff. But that's enchanted territory. Something cool might come, something not,
Yeah,
um yeah.
it's heavy. It's heavy to compose. I mean, it's work in a sense, and I mean, I love doing it. I really love it, but it's you have to be there. It's not so easy. Maybe for some people it's really easy. I mean, it is easy in a way, uh, but just to start. And once you start, I think it's easy. Then a tune pops out somehow. But just to sit down, relax, and take 1 hour to compose, that's the heavy part. Otherwise, it's easy to write a ballad, right? I mean, we can do that now. Like, okay, you take some chords, pop on a melody, okay, you have a ballad. But then is it good? I mean, who's to judge also? I mean, and stuff like that. Then these are the questions. Or so it's yeah, it's a funny thing composing.
How long do you stay with the piece that you're making? just on this topic of, who's the judge.
You mean how many years I play it, or
No, how long do you stay to write it? How
I
long
had to write it?
does it take to write it? And do you reflect on it then when you write it? Do you change something, or you like?
Uh, yeah, that's a good question. Like, depends, I think. I mean, I usually like, let's say we had a recording now in December with Tine Risnik, the saxophone
Yeah.
player, and Samuel Bear, like, who's an amazing drummer from Paris. And I wrote 7 tunes, quite heavy music, like, but I think they came up quite fast. It's, I usually write by hand the initial idea, and then just see where I am harmonically, write it out. Okay, A part melody, cool. B part I want something else. Okay, open section, and then depends. Sometimes I'm like, oh shit, that could be a nice something else, just with a guitar, and then I put everything in Sibelius, which I use the software for notation. And yeah, I mean, it goes fairly fast. I have to be honest. I think it's within an hour maybe. But then it's I'm open quite to changes. When you present the music to musicians, I remember one tune I had it like really mapped out, and then I was like, yeah, just skip the A part. So we just threw an A part away because it just didn't sound okay. And then, or maybe you repeat in your mind, you wanted to repeat the B part 2 times, but it's really cool if you repeat it endlessly until a cue comes or something. Stuff like that. Or something can be played faster than you initially thought, or slower, or so yeah. Then I'm open when you give it to musicians. It's like I never know what the drummer will play, so I'm always like, ooh, and so when you hear that, then you're like, oh shit, let's keep that going. It's great. Or so yeah, it's a living organism, a composition. I think that's good that you're not like it has to be like that. So then it's,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You mentioned you don't know what the drummer will play. Do you leave that open? You don't write the beat? I mean, you don't write.
No, oh
No?
never. Oh
What?
shit. I mean, I've played with some, with Tyshawn Sorey and Tom Rainey and Gerald Cleaver and Bob Moses. All of these guys are monsters, and they know about rhythm so much. It would be a sin for me to, and I mean, I would just tell them like it's a ballad, or just play a kind of backbeat, and what they will do then it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's an up tempo. That's it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. A
Oh,
groove tune. Play a groove. Okay,
bravo. I
it's
usually go into the, how should I say, the details in
really. Oh
I
wow,
really like going because I usually,
wow.
if I write for a band or yeah, bigger orchestra or something,
Mhm.
I would actually imagine that I am a bass player or a drummer. Like, and
Mm.
then I just imagine how cool it would make me feel if how would I feel cool? How should I put this? What should I play that I would feel cool being a drummer?
Ah, okay,
Being
okay.
this. Yes, that. And then yeah, so I think that's why some usually the drummers that I play with, they're like, man, you're pieces, man.
Yeah, if it's all written out, that's evident. Yeah, for a drummer to read all those accents, and it's like a big band recording then or something. Yeah, that's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, of course, if you're playing with the because it depends also how you set up the project, I suppose, right? Like, I think you're playing more in this free aspect. I mean, some pieces are more like more liberal, and I think it can. I'm sure it adds more to your music
yeah.
in
But
that sense, right?
I mean, I don't know. It's like the last I know you like 7 and odd meters as well and stuff. So it's I had one piece which was like 7/8. So it was like and then a 3/4 bar. So one thing would go into this Balkan, but the drummer was just like so it's completely the opposite direction that someone would think. And so if I would write some drums there, and the piece was fairly really composed afterward as well, like really complicated, constantly changing meters. But you know, it's like if there's a good drummer, I think in jazz that's quite the practice that you don't write the drum parts
Mm.
unless you want really this specific thing, you know. And I don't know, the drummers know so much about rhythm that it's like, you know, it's especially how to play the instrument, you know, how to combine the hi-hat with the snare with that, and it's yeah, I don't know. I leave it to them. It's for me, it's a nice element always when I hear a tune that it's like, woo,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
I love that.
And I think like your openness is then also, I mean, because you played with so many great musicians, and it's just crazy when I see like who you're going on tour with. And I was checking out your I saw the concert that you gave also with this Arnold, the bass player, and the yeah, Bob Moses on the
Oh yeah,
drum.
Ariel Anderson. Yeah, yeah,
Arnold, sorry.
yeah.
And that was also just crazy to see that. I mean, that guy is old now, the Bob Moses. So I was like, holy,
Both are, yeah.
like as I was listening to the concert, I was like, man, people in this room do not know yet what they are seeing. Like
Mm,
this is so special that you brought these people to
yeah.
Slovenia. Like I was like, man, you better, you guys that are listening to this concert, you better enjoy it, because this is probably the last time that you will see this dude is on the drum. Like, I'm,
I
I
hope
hope
not,
not.
but yeah.
I hope not. I hope
No, yeah,
not. But you know,
yeah. I know what you mean. Now.
it's just so rare to see these legends
Yep.
going around and touring. You know, and I think it's also great. Yeah, I was just so happy to see him playing with you, and you know, it tells a lot about this energy and openness of you. I think that's also why he decided
Yep.
to do stuff with you, because he was like, yeah, man, this is cool music. You know, this is a cool guy. You know, I think they've seen shit. You know, so I think
Oh
they're
man, yeah.
really picky what they will say yes to. So, bravo, man. I was really enjoying it. Then I hope
No,
I was
thanks.
like, I
Yeah, me
hope
too. Me too.
they are. Yeah, this was really awesome. And how he became like this, almost like a shaman tribal kind
Hmm.
of guy, right? I don't know, his drum set was also
Yeah,
crazy.
Bob is special, man. Bob is special. Yeah.
Yeah, very
He's.
special guy.
I mean, he's a, you know, it's incredible if you think about it. He played with Charles Mingus and Eric Dolphy in the late '60s, and then you know played with the Brecker Brothers and Steve Coon, and he did the Bright Size Life record. Every guitarist knows with Pat Metheny and Jaco Pastorius, and so it's you know it's and so many other records. So yet he's still underrated. So if you ask an average jazz musician and listener in Slovenia who he is, people would not know him, which is sad, you
Yeah.
know. But that's how it is. So, but yeah, that's why it's nice to bring them over so that they, you know, I hope people get to learn about more about these guys. And but just for me, it's also egoistically I learn that way. If I play with those guys, it for me it's like finishing the university after one tour. It's just like so much. I'm still, you know, absorbing stuff from that tour, just realizing shit because where you're playing with them and on the road, it's just so hectic. You're not aware of these things. You take it for granted almost. But now I'm like, oh shit, man, that was incredible. You know, it's history almost. So it's yeah,
Yeah,
it's an amazing thing.
yeah, it's like being in a history museum, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy. Um, I have a question. I mean, I see you as a, you know, you can tackle so many things that you set your mind to, and you know, do them, oh, freaking proper. I have a question. Are you at the moment or in recent time, did you or are you struggling with something, and how do you tackle that, or how do you manage that? Is there something yeah.
Yeah. I mean, time. Do you know where you can buy time like a discount? No. I don't know. I'm struggling so much with. I mean, not so much, but like especially on a long tour, when you play that you know repeating yourself. I'll put it like that. Sometimes I do a record and everyone loves it, all the critics, and I'm like, I mean, in the beginning, I'm like, oh shit, I don't know if this sounds well. It's again me, but that's your sound, right? That's how you play. And but on the road, I had quite some problems. Like you know, we had I think 17 gigs in a row without one day, or did we have one day off? I don't think we did. We had a one day off. So and then on gig 10, or something like that, I was facing this crisis of feeling that I'm playing the same shit all the time. You know, the same runs, the same arpeggios, the same. Even if we played many sections open, you know, some tunes were on harmony and on structures, but a couple were open, you know, and I had a feeling I'm just repeating myself. And then, you know, I mentioned that to those two guys, to Arild and Bob, because you know they've been doing that for what 60 years almost. So, and then you know Arild said it's just your language, it's what you do, how you play, and it's also a thing. Like he said, you know, like yesterday, let's say on Monday in Munich, that audience heard you, while this audience today in Dresden, they haven't heard you yet, or this repertoire, or the band. So you just have to, you know, for them it will be exciting. Even for you, it's maybe the same, but it shouldn't be. You know, you should open up and accept how you sound, and that's probably true. You know, I guess Wayne Shorter has his sound phrasing, hat, you know, or Pat Metheny, it's his phrasing. You know, it's Pat Metheny. So that's the issues I had. So that's yeah, just knowing how to solve it. I don't know. Maybe you're on the road, you're tired, and you need good sleep and stuff like that. So that's maybe causes all these um, moments. Yeah, but it's just. I mean, I try to push myself always into new directions. That's how I try to conquer the crisis. I mean, I've been playing the 12 string acoustic now a lot on many recordings the last 2 years, and I mean, especially acoustics in studio recordings. Well, live I play electric, and I love the acoustics now. I just I'm like shit. That's it, you know. And but yeah, I think we all have crisis. I mean, when I talk to musicians doing these interviews, it's we're more sensitive to certain things. I guess that's why we're doing this, and yeah. So then, how to solve it? That's the eternal question that everyone would like to know the answer. But I think it's smart to ask, you know, the legends, the guys who've been doing it for a long time, how they deal with these things, and that's what I always ask, you know, when I do these interviews. Everyone, how do you stay fresh? How do you do that? How do you
Mhm.
just to get some recognition or an answer?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what do you do? What crises do you have if you have them, or how do you solve them?
Um, well, recently well, it, I have to think about my own question.
You don't have a crisis, you know, ever. So
No, no, no. I have plenty. I just don't know which one to point out. Um,
okay.
I have plenty, but for example, it is, yeah, how to stay honest to myself. Like I think that's the biggest one. And what to do and what to say yes to, and to not then regret it in sense that hmm, like that I don't, not really close some doors, but I know if I start something that I will just dedicate myself to it, and then
Mm,
this is this the right thing. So sometimes my choices to do something take very long, like
okay.
because I know that I will just, then go for it. So I would just write a lot about it, and I Yeah, for example, also, also doing this podcast, for example, it was like, okay, I know this will take some time of from me, and I don't know, already I've been having some downs. Oh, it's difficult to get the guests. Oh, it's difficult to come up with no, not really to come up with questions, but to just make everything in a package and present it to
Hmm.
the people. Like, how do I present this one now? And the pressure of, if I quit or if I fail doing it, and
Hmm.
what that will bring to my ego, or what will others think of it, just to I think, okay, I'm jumping now around maybe, but just to do decisions out of authenticity,
Hmm.
not out of what other people will think about me. And uh,
Exactly. That's, yep.
I think that's
That's important.
the biggest struggle that I have now. So sometimes I'm like, maybe I should make this song, and then I'm like, where is this song coming from? Like, is it coming from the spark that I feel inside, and I'm
Yep.
doing it because I believe in it internally? Or is it, I don't know, that I will that I'm writing this because it will be likable? Like, because, yeah, I think not everybody will like you, like, that's just the bottom line. And yeah, I think just challenging my authenticity. It's a big
Hmm.
big one, and it comes with openly talking about my struggles, or just journaling them, writing them down, and just
Yep.
like, when I see it on paper, then it's a bit more wholesome for me. And sometimes I'm like, it's okay. This is here now. Like, usually it's the answer is like that. Look, this
Hmm.
is now. This is here now. And that's
Yep.
what's important. You're doing this, and whatever will come, if you hear it or if you do it, it is what it is at this moment. And
Yeah.
that's all what I can handle. Like, that's in my frame of influence. Like, that's what I can
Yep.
influence on the things that I have around me at this point.
If you like it, then it's okay. I mean, it's just you should enjoy it. If you're not, then I think you should not do it. So whatever it is, that's why I play only music that I love playing. You know, I don't want to play jazz standards anymore on a recording right now. Maybe I will in 20 years, but you know, I don't want to play in a bossa nova band. I don't know. I love it, but I don't want to do it now. So that's, even if I got an amazing deal, if I don't know. I just want to do things that I love doing musically, especially musically, because that's the one thing that I really believe in. And it's even if one band called me now, like, okay, shit, you're gonna get 500 euros per gig, and I would say probably no if I don't like it. I mean, not probably. I would say no because
Yeah.
it's just something you believe in, and.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's important. If you like it, I think then you're on the right path. I hope. I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good to check with your heart. Like, what does it feel
Yeah.
about this decision?
Exactly.
Right?
And not care about the others. I mean, that's important.
Yeah,
That's just go your own path. You know, screw the others. They let them do the other what they want, and you do your own path. It's who you are. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. I have still a couple of more questions, and then I won't bother
Okay.
you anymore. Um, what did you learn from the podcast journey? Actually, what is the biggest take for you on it?
Mm, I mean, you would not think so, but I'm a quite an introvert person. So maybe it doesn't look like it after 400 interviews, but I really like my privacy otherwise, and I'm not a pusher or a bragger, or I don't like this showing around. I mean, showing off stuff, and I don't know, just being humble. That's the one thing I've learned already from the past, like, and listening, and yeah, just I mean, that's obviously talking to all these amazing players. That's like we talked. It's incredible hearing their stories and their approaches, which helps you then in your own struggles, being a composer and a human and a father and everything, basically, you know. And but yeah, just this sense of listening and no ego, and that's such an important thing. I mean, to learn for me at least. So and being open, you know, to suggestions, and yeah, that's kind of this. I love doing these talks. Like I said in the beginning, it's just so beautiful to listen to all these people. You know.
Mm. Well, yeah. And what um, what would be the most important lesson or a quote that you got in the span of your lifetime and that you keep coming to it?
Mm. Ooh, that's a good one. uh, well, there are a couple. I mean, like John Scofield, like gave me a really good one when he said, like, think like a saxophone player when we played and breathe. You know, I remember the first time we played, and I just jump in like the solo. You know, guitarists we don't have to breathe actually. So, and I still remember that now. I mean, you know, when you solo, make a pause, breathe. That's so important. And the other one, which I heard like 3 years ago when I started doing the podcast, actually was Jerome Harris said that, like, he's a guitarist and bass player, one of, again, underrated, played with Jack DeJohnette for years and Sonny Rollins. And I asked him, like, he made two amazing records in the early 90s as a band leader, incredible records. And I asked him, like, yeah, why didn't you do more, you know, as a band leader? And then he was like, and I still remember that, and I keep it with me. He said, yes, I'm a musician, I'm a composer, but first of all, I'm also a father, I'm a husband, and I'm a human being. And I was like, shit, man, that's the answer. You know,
Yeah.
we're always about, yeah, I have to do this project, and I have to do that, and I have to do that. Well, you don't have to do anything. You should just be here in this moment now and enjoy life. You know, we have, I don't know how many I have, hopefully 40 years still to go, and that's shit. I should, you know, cherish every moment that you're here, that we're here now, that we're, you know, stop complaining. We have nothing to complain about, you know, us.
Mhm.
So it's just, yeah, this such statements, I think they are such crucial. It's this kind of one sentence statements almost, you know, that these are so important, you know.
Yeah. Well,
You have one?
well,
Sorry, I'm turning now the third table all the time, actually.
I, hmm, I have, I don't know. So usually this one comes to mind, and it's like everything is a right. Like
Mm,
everything you do, do it with care. Like
yeah, yeah,
it's
sure.
a kind of also a similar thing, you
It's
know.
very similar. Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it's in the now, so that everything, you know. I really have strongly this thought that everything what we do, even the most ridiculous things, will someday be the last time we do
yeah.
it. You know, like
Oh,
picking
yeah,
up the phone, I don't know, going to the toilet,
exactly.
cooking a meal, you know, like and when I see it from this perspective, it just gives me so much humbleness for every single thing that is around me, and
Yeah,
yeah, it really puts me to the simple stuff, like you said. You know, I am a husband, I'm a father, I'm a human being, I'm a
yeah,
partner, whatever, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's so
That
important. Yeah. We
yeah.
sometimes forget about these things in a daily life. So I think we have to remind ourselves about that because, you know, it's important. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, um, on the last note, I have a question. Where can people get to you? Where are you most active?
Mm. Uh, yeah, that's a I think my by email. I mean, I really hate social media, to be honest. Even though I do these podcasts, but I had an Instagram account, but I don't use it anymore. So if someone posted something, I'm sorry if I don't respond. I don't have it on my phone anymore. And on Facebook, I mean, I'm very accessible through Facebook because I have it, but I don't scroll anymore. I stopped
Yeah.
doing that. So basically, I usually go on there, post if I get a review for an album, or if I have a concert or some photos, or a Dr. Jazz Stocks announcement. I would post it there and log out. So I don't like things. I don't scroll. So also if someone is upset by me not, I don't know, commenting on responding, I'm sorry. But I'm accessible through Facebook Messenger. I usually quite fast, and by email. That's the easiest, which is on my YouTube site and my website. So I respond very fast to those things. So yeah,
Okay,
that's
I have to ask, how do you keep away from scrolling? Like,
oh, because I got so upset by the stupidity on those walls. Like it's just like, especially in Slovenia, so-called journalists or someone about jazz, or then I'm like, oh, people, shit. It's like terrible when I read these things, and that's and then I realized when I was scrolling, then I got upset because it's
mm,
so much bullshit there and pollution of the mind. So it's quite heavy because it's an addiction for everyone in the modern society that we're so interested as a society in others, and if you just get your mindset you will not miss out anything.
yeah,
If someone is, I don't know, cooking cevapcici for their lunch, yeah, well, good for him, man. I don't care. I mean, it's nice. If someone who's really close to me, he will send me a personal message on Messenger, and if he really wants to share something nice with me.
yeah,
And so yeah, but it's hard. I had a hard problem in the beginning. I had a hard time in the beginning just to say, "Oh shit, don't
yeah,
do that." But now I'm like, yeah, go there, post, log out, see ya.
yeah,
Because it's, yeah, polluting the mind, right? I mean, it's so useless spending of time there. So
yeah.
you know.
Also, one of my struggles, since we were talking,
Ah,
how to
okay. See,
handle your distractions. That's a big one for me. Like, coming up with strategies and what to do, and like usually I delete Instagram for some time, but then when I need it, I put it on and I post.
just don't install it. I just didn't install it with a new phone, and like, no, it's so easy. I just don't click on it. So, I mean, I still have the account, and I guess it's still going. I think obviously I didn't delete it, but I just don't go there anymore and post. And it's like, yeah, suddenly one distraction less in life. I mean, it's these are distractions. So. I'd
Yeah,
rather put on, like, if instead of doing that, I'd rather put on an interview, and listen to an interview or a podcast, or watch a basketball game. I don't know, stuff like that. It's much more fun than people commenting, "Oh, why the roads are not clean." Well, they're not clean, so what? I mean, what? That's true. Like, now when it was snowing here, like,
yeah,
so. But yeah, that's yeah, that's how it is.
yeah. Well, wow. Thank you, Samo. I really enjoyed this conversation, and thanks for all the insights and stories that you shared with us. You even showed us the epic photo
Oh
with
yeah, man. With
with the Yugoslavian sweater.
it
That
is a Yugoslavian sweater, actually. Those cheap ones, kind of like, but okay.
yeah. Cool.
But yeah, thank you for taking the time as well, and inviting me, and it was nice to talk. And we got to play again, man. I will
Yes.
I will harass you on Messenger now after this,
Yeah.
when we
Harass.
meet. So
Yeah, absolutely. I would love it. And
yeah,
yeah, I wish you a beautiful day. Thanks for all
thank
the
you. You too.
insights, and
Yeah,
take care.
gladly. Thanks. Ciao, Michael.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, feel free to share your thoughts and ideas on the topics we've discussed today in the comments, as well as any burning questions you might have for my future guests. I'm your host, Michael Hrustil, and until next time, I wish you a sound mind.